Today I'm sharing with you my crowd control build for the Demolisher. This has been tested on insane difficulty. All perks in the build have been tested to make sure they work properly. All mods have been tested to make sure they work properly. I'm going to start off with the Kramer assault rifle. That is the primary weapon of choice due to its high damage and high weak spot damage. This is a extreme, insane, it can hold its own on that. So definitely going for as much damage as possible with the bullets. So we're going for fire rate and stability, fire rate and max ammo, accuracy and weak point damage. With this mod, with those three mods, the gun is fairly accurate, and you should have no problem if you're good at controlling recoil to land your shots. Next up, we have the smart gun. We're going to be running the weak point, stumble chance, and effective range with a 33% chance to briefly stun enemies on hit. The effect can only occur once every 15 seconds, but when it does occur, it stuns the enemy for like a solid 2 seconds, and it works on the drones and everything, the warriors. So when you do get that, you also get a down and out bonus for 20% extra damage, and you slow them up to a standstill for 2 seconds. So it is really nice because it comes with that 20% weak point damage, 10% stumble chance, and 10% effective range. A little less needed, but it is nice because the smart gun does have a little bit of a drop off on the damage, so occasionally that 10% range comes in handy a little bit. Then we have 20% chance on hit. Enemies are slow by 50% for 10 seconds. With the smart gun, with this build, you are going to slow up so many enemies. I highly recommend shooting several enemies versus going for the kill. So just light up like 5-6 bullets when you got a crowd and just go on to the next and go on to the next and go on to the next, so you slow up several enemies and then go for the kills. It works really good like that. Plus you get stability to help you land your shots, and handling because you are going to be swapping weapons back and forth, especially if you're not running a recon on extreme or insane, or even on intense. You will burn through your ammo on the smart gun if you try to use it a lot. And because this gun burns ammo so fast, we definitely do need that 30% max ammo, and the 20% handling does help a lot too, so we can more strategically use our smart gun when we are playing Demolisher and not paired with a recon. For the consumables, we're going to be running the cryo grid and the vulnerability assessment. So this is a crowd control build, and we're going to be running the concussive rockets and two 20% cooldowns. As you can see right here, just using the rockets, we get 22 seconds till we get our next rockets. Now, if we were to hit 4 targets with this build, when our damage boost ended, we would have our rockets back up. Now, if you were to hit more targets, it wouldn't make a difference because you need to hit at least 4 targets for quick and dirty to be able to give you your next set of rockets when the ability ends, which would also put you at 12.5% damage for hitting 4 targets, which is pretty sweet. I mean, you're generally going to hit at least 4 targets unless you're just prioritizing one drone or something coming at you. So we're also going to be running down and out because we got that stun on the smart gun. We got missiles that are going to be coming back roughly every, 15 seconds or so. So when we do knock down targets, we want to be doing more damage, especially when we knock down a drone at long range, or a crusher at long range, or just a group of enemies at long range, and then we can prioritize the worst target in that group for a little bit extra damage. Next up, we have rough and tumble. Now this should not be overlooked for 2 bars because this affects acid blood, it affects spitter damage, it affects bursters, and bursters and spitters are probably 2 of the hardest things to not get hit with in a game, and they deal just about the most damage short of getting pinned by a drone or a crusher. So having those damages reduced by 50% can really make a difference, and it also does affect acid blood if you do happen to step in any. Now this can be swapped out. This is increases the attached ability by 20% and generates an additional stack of Clear the Room. So it helps with the cooldown to get more rockets, gives you more damage every time you use your rockets, and it adds a little bit of damage to the rockets themselves. Now, if you do have a second demo or you have a technician in the build, somebody else doing area damage, I would highly recommend replacing it with Fire and Forget, so they can do 25% more area damage, and the 8% bleed over 8 seconds kind of evens out to the extra damage you would get. The way I have it like this is if you don't have a technician or a second demo, because you're dealing just about as much damage with that 20%, unless you're hitting a really big target, and then the bleed might even out to a little bit more. But with a good team, it's not going to make too much of a difference, and that 2.5 helps you more throughout the game. But both of those are really good, so you're just going to have to pick which one you want for that slot. Next up, we have Quick and Dirty. When Clear the Room expires, your ability cooldowns are reduced by 1 second for each stack that was lost. As I mentioned, this has a huge radius. We get it back a lot, so we're going to be getting our missiles back a lot, which is really nice. It also helps with the reduction on the blast wave. Now, I'll go into the bottom right in a second, but we're going to increase the blast wave radius by 40%. The initial blast wave radius is quite small, and you have to be very close to your target. Like if you have a drone charging at you, that timing needs to be damn near perfect. With this 40%, you have a fairly nice range to be able to blast a pouncer about to pounce, or you don't have to be right on top of a pouncer. I call it a pouncer of a prowler that's pinned on one of your teammates. You can be like a good roll away and still get them, which is really nice. That time to not have to be on top of enemies. One, helps you prevent getting hit, and I don't know what two is, but yeah, it just helps you from getting hit and saves time. It saves them damage as well. Also, we're definitely going to be running enemies hit by blast wave or dazed, which decreases their movement speed and damage dealt for 10 seconds. So this is really nice on the drones, especially when they come in. You hit them with the blast wave, so if they do happen to hit anyone, they do 20% less damage, and it's easier to dodge them because you're reducing their movement speed. Then you hit them with the smart gun, you reduce the movement speed too. So you can slow up a lot of enemies with this build. And we're going to be running a little bit on the heavy weapon because we are going to be using our smart gun for a lot of crowd control. If you're running a recon, you're going to be using your smart gun a lot. We're going to increase the max ammo and the reload speed. This one is not for the radius. The radius really doesn't apply at all, but we're going to take this just for the 10% extra damage. And finally, we're taking this for the fire rate and the stability. The fire rate helps us inflict the slow more, do more damage faster, and the stability helps us waste a little bit less shots. So you can line up those headshots and the drones faster and everything. And that is my crowd control build for the Demolisher. I hope that helps.